it's like biological differences between us. I haven't been on this account in a while, so it might not have that much traction. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the gifts. Thanks for everybody being awesome. Maybe I'll shrink this a bit so you can see it better. I wonder if I get on the treadmill, if it will just be too goddamn annoying for you guys. I mean, I was debating on most panels on the treadmill. Although, to be fair, I was muting a lot once I was done speaking. So it might be really annoying, but I don't want to just sit and talk. I want to walk and talk, so. Whoa, she says. Whoa. Whoa, dude. Whoa. Whoa. That's crazy. Debate on treadmill. Icy, where are you? Are you like um the haiku AI or something? Treadmill debates with Martha. Treadmill debates with Martha. First, I must put the shoes on. The walking shoes. Jayut. See, I thought this was a good combination because this is like two transracialists and then two transgenderists, and then the two transgenderists are, one of them's the hyperfeminine gay man and one of them's the AGP, which is like pretty much the majority of the men who are mimicking the female sex. I should do trans men lives because people are always like, what about trans men? And it's like, well, because I'm so pro woman and pro women and girls, and I'm trying to fight for women and girls, it's hard for me to like sort of attack women. Like, I know that women cause problems and there's all these like this stupid shit women do, but like to hold alive attacking women's really hard for me because I really like to focus on like making the world a better place for women and girls and pointing out all the harm that's coming. Hey to you too. Dylan belongs in a Saw movie. He's the villain. Oh my God. Like, could you imagine? That would be such a funny movie. He'd be like, oh my God. Like, he's just so over the top. He's just like the most obnoxious, insane, offensive. Like, he's the most offensive. Oh, there's like a caterpillar on the ground. Crazy. Is that a caterpillar or what is that? I think that's a centipede. Dylan can do a Saw parody. His face is so animated, but in a twist. I know, he just does this like caricature. Like his whole world is a caricature. Here comes the loud treadmill. Oh my God, it's loud. Sorry, guys. Human centipede starting with Dylan and ending with, oh, just put a bunch of them in there. Oh God, Paisley, you're nasty. Paisley's a nasty girl. Little nasty girl. Well, now we're getting creative, aren't we? Everybody go send this live to Icy. I want to debate Icy about it. Okay, so last night on Blues Live, they're like, You know what? Bring me the proof that black people would not be okay with white people wearing them as a costume for their mental illness. And I'm like, I don't need to bring you proof of that because, one, we don't have as many people doing transracialism as there are men doing transgenderism. So there's no proof of that. And second of all, it's just common sense that, like, black people having suffered as much as they have at the hands of white people, that if white people started wearing them as a costume and doing caricatures of their race and, and then taking, like, going getting, okay, fuck, getting their tax money to to give them transracial surgeries so that they can look like black people, and then doing all the stereotypes that surround black people, and then just infiltrating anything that black people have carved out for themselves to have away from, like, I don't know if there is much that white, like, black people have carved away from the white race. Like, I think there's, like, scholarships, and I think there's, like, certain things, kind of like how women have scholarships and, like, different affirmative action type things. But even without taking away, or if they had, like, or if they were, like, winning best African American award of the year or whatever, like Buffy St. Marie in Canada here, she's pretending to be indigenous, and she's like Italian and like something else that gives her kind of an indigenous look, but she's not indigenous at all. And she's won like all these awards that were supposed to go to indigenous creators and artists. And she was like the icon for Canada as like and so all of these different like indigenous people lost out to her, and she was glorified when someone else could have been glorified, like that kind of thing, right? So if like white people decided in the numbers that men are deciding to colonize and fetishize the female sex, if white people decided to colonize and fetishize the black race, like in such a literal way, like not even just appropriating, because like nobody really cares about cultural appropriation all that much, to a degree. Like if you wear like a chief hat or something that is a bestowing upon you status that is like part of the culture you don't understand or whatever, I don't know. But like if if people are doing fashion, or if men are performing femininity or whatever, nobody cares. It's more just like if you actually mimic the physical race or the physical sex of women, and then you also take the stereotypes and you also take the cultural things in order to like give this total impression that you are that race or you are that sex. And he's just like, do you think black people would actually be mad about that? I'm like, yeah, I do. I do think that if black people had to walk around and look at a bunch of white people, like, let's say it was the hippest thing to do, just like trans kids, or the hippest thing to do in Hollywood. Let's say it was the hippest thing to do in Hollywood to do blackface, where like they just got black pigment in their skin, and they like change the way their nose look, and they change the way their hair looks, and they try to make it so that they look like the black race. And then they also take the stereotypes, and then black people had to walk around and look at these fuckers all day, and like they would have to deal with them like the way women have to deal with the men. Like, do you think they'd put up with it? Like, I fucking don't think so. But I guess it's like racist to say that black people would be mad if white people wore them as a costume. Um, so yeah, hopefully Icy will come up and tell me why he thinks that. Treadmill talk showdown. Yep, she's one of the last ones to fight. Oh, thanks. That's quite the compliment. That dude with the coat. Did you ever watch Coneheads with Dan Aykroyd? Oh my god. I know I thought if we just picked a hyper feminine gay man and an autogynephile, and then two transracialists. I guess there's like 49 million. That's your favorite movie? Coneheads? That's awesome. Um, I guess there's like 49 million transracialists or something like that. Somebody gave me that number. I don't know if that's true. My sister used to tell me I was adopted and my parents were the Coneheads. Oh my god. Yeah, that was an old Saturday Night Live skit, and then they turned it into a movie. Oh, those were the good old days when Saturday Night Live was actually funny, and now it's just woke. Although, actually, it's still funny. To be honest, it's still funny. It's not a big pile of woke garbage. It's definitely like more biased and stuff, and more like they don't make fun of certain things they 100% should be making fun of. Like the fact that everybody is so afraid to make fun of the trans thing is such a wasted comedy opportunity. Like, imagine if Saturday Night Live was just ripping into the trans thing, like into the sports, into the men just like being caricatures. They could have made a whole skit just based on Dylan Mulvaney. Like the Saturday Night Live skit. Just imagine. And it would have turned into a movie, 100%. Right? Aw, thanks, guys. Yeah, South Park made fun of it. But like culture on the whole, because it's so taboo to make fun of these fuckers, is just so dumb because like it would have been so funny. And there is still funny, but it's like kind of the conservatives making fun of it. Although I guess I wouldn't really say that South Park is conservative. Can I identify as transracial or do I not fit the qualifications? I don't know. Can you? Oh, thanks, Gigi. It's from a post where he was looking for a wife. I think very creepy. Yeah, yeah. It was on Twitter. He's like looking for a wife. I'm a creepy pervert who wants to be my wife. Blackface equals racist. Woman face stunning. And Dave. Dave's not here, man. Dave's not here. Yeah. I tried to find a particularly creepy one. Well, actually, I didn't even have to try to find. It was just the latest AGP in my Twitter feed. And I sent it to Maddie. Maddie does all the backdrops and she does all the cool videos. Maddie's the best. Some of the TRA live sphere feel like an SNL skit. I just think that SNL dropped the ball so hard. Like they could have had, like Dylan Mulvaney alone is such an idiot and such a caricature that you wouldn't even need to do much else but just emulate him on a skit. Like he already takes all the female stereotypes, all the negative ones especially, and just absolutely magnifies them in his own, like I guess because he is a content creator, so he does take it to the next level to try to create more entertainment with it. So it gets to that like woman face drag queen sort of arena. Thanks for the tiny dimies. Oh, we got a poll, top left corner. What's this poll say? It says, is being transracial acceptable? Well, Icy would say so. Oh my god, you saw The Price is Right? That was like, what the hell, dude? I mean, if you overact that much, like, of course you're gonna do well. Like, but what's pathetic though is that he did all these things, he did all this stuff, and the only thing that worked for him was jumping on the trans trender wagon and becoming like a caricature of a woman full time in his life. And like that would be one thing, except that like he jumped on a real life thing that is hurting women and children and hurting our rights and violating our spaces and boundaries and dehumanizing us. So it's just kind of like, shit, dude, You found your fame in a really shitty place. And you suck. Started. Pull left hand corner. Do the pull. Do the pull. Do the pull. 25 people. I expect to see 25 votes. Oh, that was pressure. I didn't mean to pressure you like that. I'm sorry. Boy, Martha, transracial people want to be black until it's time to be black. Well, yeah, exactly. That's like men want to be women until it's time to be women. Here's what we should do. We'll create a game show. All the men who want to pretend they're women, we'll get them all in a big building, right? And we'll just show them a bunch of videos about the horrors that women go through. And I've seen a couple of compilations of them, like where different countries how they punish women, all these really medieval horrendous things they do to women, like stoning and burning and acid attacks and and I'm not even picking on just Islam. There's like a bunch of different countries, like FGM and just I can't remember. I gotta find it. It was literally like, here's what happens in this country, here's what happens in that country, here's what happens, and it's all like a bunch of horrific shit, and like all the child brides and the trafficking and just put them in a room and show them all this, show them the women in Afghanistan and what they're not allowed to do, and then just be like, all right, so since you guys want to be women, we're gonna just ship you off to Afghanistan for like 5 years because we just want to make sure you actually want to be women. Like, we want to make sure this is real because we just want to cut down on the fakers and the pervs and whatever. So, to all you true women, to all you women who are, you can't help but be a woman, right? You have no choice. You've got to do this, right? Let's see. Let's see who's telling the truth. Your plane leaves in 4 hours. Make your decision. How many men would be left in that room, I wonder? I truly wonder. I'm guessing 0. That's what I'm guessing. They want to be women till they actually have to be women. But that's the thing, none of them would choose to be women if they actually were women. Like, if they actually knew what it was like. Like, if they were a man, and then they actually knew, like someone just downloaded a woman's like experience and consciousness and feelings in their body and all the problems we have and all the pain we go through and how we're treated and how 1 in 3 have been molested and 1 in 6 raped and constant sexual harassment, constant not being taken seriously, not being listened to, having the whole world not be set up for us but for men, the fear, the pain, the trauma, the uncertainty, the beauty standards, the crippling body dysmorphia and body dysphoria, the impossible beauty standards. Just, download it all. And then be like, you still want to be a woman? And they'd be like, yeah, I'd like to fetishize it. I'd like to slum around in it. Coneheads and comedy. Right. Oh. So 10% of people say that transracial is acceptable. So that's 1 vote, I guess. And 90% say only 10 votes out of 30 people. Come on, man. Okay, so whoever said transracial is acceptable, get up here. Get up here. Let's talk about it. Someone accidentally voted yes. That was me, an accident. All right. So it was 100% say it's not acceptable. I sometimes wish I was a man as a gender divergent woman. Not gonna lie, it's really hard. Why is that, like, if you want to be a woman, you have to go through all the other countries? Why is that like the... What? I love you, walking paradox, but I'm only taking up opposition. Unless you want to come up and make a statement or something. Accidentally on purpose. Are you saying that was a Freudian slip? You can identify as a snail. 1v1. Yeah, I don't. You'll drop. But do you want to come up and say something? Or do you just. Oh, there you are.
Morning, Martha.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really well, thank you.
Nice.
I just wanted to, because I was in that live yesterday, and
Yeah.
honestly, like, I just thought it was absolutely disgusting what they were saying, just because you use the logic tracks, but they just don't like the fact that the logic tracks and them being used. As a black person, I don't find this offensive whatsoever. The logic tracks, we find that the top two people doing that offensive. So
Yeah.
why can't we find the other one just as offensive? It is the same thing.
Exactly. In fact, I
And
would say it's less offensive because there's more, because as he was arguing, there's not as many like biological differences between the races, but whereas sex and the male and female sex, it's so different, right? Like and the inequality gaps are so stark. Whereas like with different races, it's a mess. It's all over the place, especially nowadays, right? Like different races are all over the place with their inequality gaps and stuff like that. But it's just like
exactly.
women
And the
and
thing,
children are always straight at the most oppressed in every group, in every
exactly.
race.
100%, 100%. So I just wanted to kind of, put a statement out there because I'm sure there's people going, "Oh my God!" Me as a black person, I do not find this offensive. That I've used this argument plenty of times as well. That if I, as a black woman, start identifying as white, would you find that offensive? And people say, "No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't." Yes, you
Yeah,
would. Don't try
right.
it. It is terrible. Right? I'm gonna drop and let you do your live, but I just thought I'm just gonna kind of preface this because I know what these idiots are saying. They're just going to kind of run with the narrative of, oh, you're racist, and it's not true. It's just rubbish.
Well, they think that it's racist for me to think that black people are not a costume and women aren't a costume. I think the reason why people take such offense, and it's usually men, and it's usually black men, because they think that, oh, oops, sorry, they think that misogyny is not as serious as racism. And so when we bring up misogyny, they just don't see it as big of a problem and as serious. So they're just like, how dare you compare racism to something I don't think is very serious, right? But
Of
they don't
course.
understand that like women are unalived every 11 minutes and raped every 60 seconds. Like they don't understand the plight of women in the world. So they don't see like how it's not just comparable, but like I might go
But
so far as to say women are like
I mean,
doing a lot worse.
they're both systems of oppression. And
Yeah.
even with the topic of Rachel Dolezal, or what the hell her name is, she actually benefited from it as a white teen
Yes.
woman. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about men who are benefiting from being women in society, as well as taking away from women in society. It is very comparable. But I'm going to drop anyway because I know you're the opposition. But yeah, please, like, don't anyone that does that, like, comes and says that crap, literally just drop them. It's disgusting.
Nice. Thanks for your support.
All right, take care.
Good night. So you say you can't change your race, it's not comparable. You can't change your sex, Danielle, it is comparable. Like, this is what's so funny. I love it when people get offended because it's just like, it just shows how misogynistic you are. You think that men can change into women, but it's unfathomable that white people could change into black people. You're just like, nope, not a thing, but totally a thing for men when they want to be women. Yup, that's a thing. Fuck off. Because transgenderism is real and being a transracial person is not real and is racist. Well, both of them are about as real as each other. There are lots of people who would like to be transracial, and there are people who full on do it. There are examples of it, right? Ollie London was another example of it. The thing is, it's more taboo to try to change your race because it's not accepted. People are like, fuck off, that's racist, right? But for the men who wish to colonize and fetishize the female sex, they're like, no, that's acceptable. Yeah, that's a real thing. That's fine. That's something men want to do. And if men want to do something, Well, then men get to do it. Fuck off. We're not a costume. We're human beings. Michael Jackson, I hate changing your. Well, I mean, it's a bit like if black people pretend they're white because white people oppress black people and black people don't oppress white people. It's a kind of a different scenario, right? But like men oppress women, right? So if men dress up and pretend and get surgeries to pretend they're women, it adds to our oppression. It erases us. It destroys our category. It destroys us as a protected sex class in language and law. It infringes upon our rights and spaces and sports and prisons. So it's pretty consequential when an oppressor class mimics an oppressed class. Yeah, yeah. And change your gender is completely taboo also. I mean, it's not completely taboo. It was completely taboo because it was like, you're a freak. And people don't like freaks, right? They were like, you're a perv, you're a cross-dresser, you're in the weird LGBT community or whatever. It was just a weirdo behavior. It wasn't like, oh my God, that's sexist, right? There was no like pushback on it. It wasn't taboo because of its unfucking believable sexism, right? So that's the difference, the differentiation. Fire Lord, you're on my side. You're on my side, Fire Lord. I want an op.
Well, I know I'm not an up. I'm so sorry, but I wanted to say hi.
It's okay. It's okay.
How you
Um,
doing, Martha? Good to see you.
I'm good. Yeah, good to see you. How are you?
Long day at work. Long day.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad it's the weekend, though.
Oh, TGIF.
Oh, thank the Lord above. Hey, man.
Nice.
Can I
Did you
get an
have
amen?
Did you have a statement on this at all, or what are you feeling?
Statement. If you think that, if you don't think this is okay, then why is this okay? That's a good question for these people. That is a very good question. I don't think any of this is okay.
Moi aussi. I think it's a bunch of fucking sexist, racist bullshit. I'm just dropping you because I'm looking for ops and I'm also kind of reading the comments. So I'm trying not to do 50 things at once. I'm on the treadmill, plus I'm reading comments, plus you were up here shooting the shit. It's too much. My brain will explode. But I really do love you and I'm glad to see you. And you're one of the OGs. You're one of the OGs that have been fighting for years with me. And I'm glad to see you and I'm glad you're alive and I'm glad you had a good day at work and that you're, yeah. Martha, have you been up for hours? It's 7:30 a.m. here. I haven't been up that long. Um, it is 11:35 here. What's not okay about the top besides their hair being a mess? um, well, white people pretending they're black. You don't see a problem with that? Okie dokie. Trans women have prostate and trans men have ovaries. Retired urologist. Michael Jackson. Okay, I read that. Uh, Badger State Resistance on Facebook and see her latest post. You're gonna have to send me that. I don't know. Danielle, you can't change your sex. It is comparable. You can change your ID. Yeah, you can falsify your documents, which thank God Trump is putting a stop to that. Too bad we couldn't do that in other countries. Because I mean, like, what do you mean by real? Yeah, there's men who fetishize the female sex. It's called autogynephilia. That's real. Yeah, there's hyperfeminine gay men who have internalized homophobia or have internalized that it's unacceptable for them to be a feminine male. And the only acceptable femininity resides in females. And if you're not female, you're not allowed to be that way. And because they are that way, they thought they were wrong. They thought they were born wrong. And so they got gender dysphoria from an internalized core belief they learned from their childhood and the messages they got from the world around them that told them that they were wrong for being feminine and being male. But now we live in a society where we're trying to stop all that, right? Where we're trying to say, actually, if you're an inherently feminine man, that's okay. Most of these men or most of these boys grew up to be homosexual, the ones who were not interfered with, the ones who didn't get completely traumatized by their femininity. And you think it's okay to take these hyper feminine gay boys and sterilize and mutilate them and help them live a lie, help them pretend they're something they're not, help them hurt their bodies, and do a eugenics program with them so that they're sterilized and they don't get to, their family lines are ended. You think it's acceptable to help people disassociate from their bodies and from reality? And then women and girls pay the price for that too? None of it's okay. It's not real. The need for people to pretend they're the opposite sex is not a legitimate thing. It's a pathogenic, harmful behavior. It's not something that's like, yup, you were just born in the wrong body. That's religious bullshit, and it's not true. Absolutely no child, no baby, no human being is born in the wrong body. As the Isabella Malbin podcast says, if it's not your body, whose body is it? Whose body is it? It's your body. You were born in the right body. And whether you are inherently masculine or inherently feminine because of, like, I do believe perhaps there's some hormonal things that went on and gave people more of a masculinity when they're female or more of a femininity when they're male. That could be why some men are born with more feminine features and a more smaller stature and more feminine mannerisms and whatever. Just because there's a more feminine male does not mean he's a woman, doesn't mean he's a girl. So fuck off. We're not costumes. Helping people destroy and attack their sex bodies to create a mimicry of a sex that they're not is cruel and fucked up and sexist and misogynistic and causes problems, causes boundary violations, normalizes autogynephilia, suggests sells this behavior to children, puts children at risk, puts children in the presence of autogynephiles. The whole thing's bullshit. It's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Not getting any ops though. Oh, I just invited somebody I didn't mean to. Sorry, I was trying to scroll. That was a fun live. When are you going to do an advice live again? Well, I can do one right now. If you'd like some advice, you can come up and ask advice. But if you're coming up to ask advice, just put it in the comments so I know that you're not op. We can make this a double whammy. It could be a transracial, transgender Martha advice live extravaganza on a treadmill. I slice, I dice, I fold clothing, I treadmill, I give advice, I debate transracial and transgenderism. Multitasking Martha at your service. Multitasking Martha, I can do it all. The gift goal. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I can't see how to do a gift goal because it just said a flash goal. And like usually there's just like a spot to do a gift goal. And I'm not seeing that spot anymore. So I don't know. Are you on Discord? I am rebuilding the asylum. Trying to anyway. Nice. Yeah, I really need to get like organized. Like I need to get the prison stats somewhere. I need to get all the stats because there's a stat that like fucking up men's endocrine systems and putting them on wrong sex hormones only takes like 13% of their like strength away or some shit. And like people were trying to find that the other day and like I couldn't find, or I didn't look for it, but people couldn't find it. I need to get like things super organized. In a way, it's like, okay, here's all the Here's all the trans women hurting women in bathrooms. Here's all the, um, just get it super organized. So I can just refer back to it. It's easily available. Google buries it though. Like, for instance, I was trying to tell people about the man who is HIV positive that 3 world-class hospitals helped lactate so he could essay his wife's baby by using his wife's baby in his lactation fetish, and how 3 world-class Canadian hospitals helped him do that. And so I Google and Google and Google. I could not fucking find it. It was pissing me off so much. And then I went to DuckDuckGo. Boom, first article that came up. So because Google is part of the big tech, oh shit, I gotta retie my shoe. Because Google is part of the big tech patriarchy that supports this ideology, they bury all of the shit. They bury all the anti-trans things, all the bad things trans people do, all the statistics of how many young girls are getting their breasts cut off between the ages of 12 and 17. They bury all of the prison statistics of the men who are mimicking our sex in prison. So you can't find fuck anything on Google if it's to do with anything bad about trans, or you'll be like, how many trans people are actually unalived as a hate crime? And Google will just give you a bunch of propaganda, like nothing real, and everything just articles from trans activists. And then you go dig deeper to different sources, and they're like, here's the actual data. Like, none of them are hate crimes. They were very a handful. So Google's useless if you want to fight this ideology and find resources. Google is not your friend. I completely agree. I often ask, why is trans okay but trans race doesn't? And they get angry. I know. They don't like that. They don't like that comparison because they know that it's not okay to mimic the black race if you're white, but men mimicking the female sex, absolutely fine. No probsy. Is this pro-trans or not? What do you think? Use Grok? Isn't that AI? I'll try. Right, multitasking Martha, treadmill truths. Multitasking Martha, you can ask me advice, you can debate with me, you can do whatever. We'll see. We got 32 minutes on the treadmill already and nobody's come up to debate. Use Grok. What the fuck are you going on about? What the fuck am I not going on about? I'm going on about it all. Come up and talk to me if you're up. Yeah, they censor it all. They just bury it. They're just like, what? Something bad that a trans person did? We'll just bury that forever? Luke is a W. A woman of many talents. Pools freak me out. I swim almost every day. Yeah, I'm still swimming. I was a competitive swimmer growing up, so it's like a way that I could exercise with body memory, I just know how to do all the strokes. I have a really good routine of a workout that I can do without wanting to unalive and never wanting to come back again. Because that's the thing about exercise. You'll go and you'll do it, right? And you'll be like, oh wow, amazing, right? But then you don't want to ever do it again. If you did it too hard, or it was just too foreign, or it was just too much, or it overwhelmed you, or whatever, and of course you toughed through it. But once you're done doing it, the next day you're like, fuck that. So you got to find things that are sustainable to do. See, I'm giving advice. This is what's going to happen. If you don't come up and debate me about transracialism and transgenderism, then I'm just going to start doling out advice. I'm just going to start Rachel Dolazoling out advice. Swear to God. If you don't want to hear Martha's unsolicited advice, then you fucking better get up here and debate me. But yes, I'm still swimming. I try to swim every day. I am menstruating at the moment. See, not only am I treadmilling, giving advice, but I'm menstruating at the same time. And I am like, this is amazing. I'm actually also spinning like plates on a stick above my head. So I've got my phone in one hand where I'm reading the comments, right? I got the stick with the plates spinning in the other hand. I'm on the treadmill. I'm menstruating. I'm giving advice. Like, I'm a regular Renaissance girl over here. Like, this is what's happening. Just reading the comments. I would love a cookie. You're menstruating too? Oh, wow. See, we're synced up. You see that? We synced up through TikTok. What's your advice, thoughts on how to deal with feminist groups that support trans women? Holy fuck. I need to get more on that. Maddie, if you want to, maybe you already made a background, Maddie, but we need a background inviting feminists to come up and like defend why they fucking support this ideology. Like what I do is I just point out like you can't protect women and girls as a sex class and then also pretend that women are a gender identity that men can have. Like you can't be like, here's a legitimate, real human class of people who are dealing with sex-based oppression and violence, but then also we don't exist and we're just a fucking identity that anyone can claim. No. Women don't get a choice. We don't get to identify into our oppression, okay? We're just female. We're just adult human females. We don't get a fucking choice in the matter. It's not an identity. It's not a gender identity that we're on the same side of. We're just adult human females, and that's just fucking reality. Now, men who are adult human males, they would like the luxury of identifying into our class, right? Because some of them have fetishes. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Emma. Emma. I gotta figure out a song for you. Hey, Emma, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Emma. Yo, Emma. Hey, Emma, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Yo, Emma. Emma. Oh, you got me running on the treadmill. Okay, slow down. Whew. Slow down. I will dance and sing like a monkey if you give me galaxies, because holy shit, that makes me happy. It makes it all worthwhile, because I live in Canada where everything costs $100. Like literally everything. You could just be like, can I get a sock? They're like, that'll be $100, please. That's how it is. What were we saying? Oh yeah, feminists. So yeah, you cannot protect women and girls as a sex class and then also protect the idea of gender identity at the same time, because women need provisions away from the male sex because of the sex-based violence, oppression, discrimination, and just the sex-based differences. It's not even so much the discrimination and violence, it's also because we're different and we have different needs. Just like disabled people have different needs. Children have different needs. Certain races have different needs too because of certain oppression in the past. But also, our physicality just gives us different needs because we menstruate and we're pregnant and we have children and we're smaller and we're weaker and we don't have as much bone density and muscle mass and strength and explosive strength and mass switch muscle fibers, and we're just not evolved as males, and we have higher consequences to procreation, and on and on and on and on and on. So you can't just pretend that men can be women and then also protect women at the same time. Just can't do it. So I always ask feminists, how the fuck do you expect to have women's rights if women cannot have rights away from the male sex? How the fuck do you expect to protect women when you're allowing the oppressor class to identify into the class they oppress? Like, go ahead. And they're just like, oh, femininity is what causes our oppression. It's like, no, it isn't. Butch lesbians are just as oppressed as feminine fucking damsels in distress. Like, what? A woman's masculinity doesn't make her any less um, female, doesn't make her any less at risk. In fact, I would say this: men are even more angry at masculine women. Men like masculine women make men feel emasculated, which pisses them off. So I would say there's a lot of violence against masculine women. Probably that Dana Rivers guy who unalived those two lesbians and their son because he was mad that they weren't letting him into the Mishfest women's festival in Michigan, and so he decided to unalive them. I'm kind of doubting that these women's femininity in created that hate crime, right? Like, pretty sure it was just the fact that they were female and the fact that they were saying no to a man. When women say no, men don't like that. Not all men, of course. Some men don't like that. I gotta get used to saying some men don't like that. Yeah, yeeted myself. Did you yeet the teat? It's like him. Are you talking about Mr. Clean's? Yeah. Men who pretend to be women are dangerous to society and should be treated as such. Abso-fucking-lutely. That is a well-said statement. Literally wolves in sheep's clothing, right? And people are like, so I had this conversation with Marcy. He's a trans-identified male, and he's trans himself from a really young age, and he's only 19 right now. And he's a very feminine man, and he's, always felt an affinity, and women have felt an affinity with him. Because it's true, there are certain men that women, they sense the femininity in them, and they're disarmed by it, right? It makes them feel safer. And there's like a, what's the word? Rapport. There's a rapport that they feel with these men because they feel like just another girl. They feel like one of the girls or whatever, right? So there's like a small amount of the men who are mimicking our sex that women have no problem with because they are just so feminine. It's kind of like when I see a gay man, like AJ, for instance, and he's got all his makeup on, he's got his hair done nice, and he's wearing like feminine clothes. He's got his little beard. He's definitely not pretending to be a woman, but he's totally feminine, right? I don't feel upset about that. I don't feel like that's blackface or woman face. I don't feel like that's, I'm not mad there. That seems like a genuine feminine man expressing himself in ways that he feels are true to himself, right? But it's when men actually mimic our sex and then also mimic the stereotypes. And most especially when masculine men do this, that it's predatory and it's fucking unacceptable. Esmerda, you are not opposition. Unless you want Martha advice, no, come up. No. We want opposition. But yeah, and even the hyper-feminine gay men who mimic the female sex see us as okay, so we sense the femininity in the gay men, in the feminine men. But what women don't understand is that they're still men, right? So just because they have the femininity doesn't mean that they're not men. So the misogyny that I find from these hyper-feminine gay men is a very unique, specific type of misogyny. It seems to be like they don't understand women. They understand them to the degree of the femininity. They like a lot of the aesthetic of women, but they don't understand women's plight in the world. They can sort of understand because they're like, oh, I get oppression from being a feminine man. You get oppression because you're a female. So they can kind of be like, oh, we both are oppressed because of femininity or femaleness, right? And that can seem like parallels. It can seem like, oh, okay, we're cool, like we're on the same page, but they're not. A man being like prosecuted or persecuted, sorry, not prosecuted, persecuted for his femininity is not the same oppression as women get for their femaleness. It's not the same. We can understand each other to a degree, but it's not the same. And so the men who mimic the female sex, who are feminine gay men, they don't have a female body. They don't understand menstruation or pregnancy. They don't understand the vulnerability, because like some of these gay men are like small in stature, whatever, but they still have the explosive strength. They still have like a man's body, regardless of if it's smaller or whatever. So they just don't understand what it's like to live in the world as a female. And they often, these men seem to have a bit of disgust about our bodies. And because they're men and they're not sexually attracted to us, they don't have a lot of use for us. So they kind of do like the catty, like competitive, and because they're men, they're really competitive, right? And so there becomes this like really toxic misogyny that comes from this particular type of man. And so women, because of our natures, we have so much understanding and connection to these men, but like, I don't know how much the feeling's that mutual, because when I talk to these men about this ideology and about how much it hurts women, they don't fucking care. Like, in fact, they have so much entitlement, like, that it's actually unbelievable. Oh, cherry soda might be an op. Let's see. Hey, Cherry, what's your age? What's your age?
I'm 18.
And what's your date of birth? We just gotta ask when it's that young.
My date of birth, November 1st, 2006.
And what would you like to say?
Basically, so the reason why blackface isn't okay is because the entire reason of someone doing it is racist mockery, right?
Well, hold on.
And
These
the
two women ahead of the
hold
two women up
on,
there. Well,
you
no,
can wait a little.
Yeah, it's my life. The two women above, though, are not doing it for a mockery, though, right? They're doing it because they
Right.
actually want to be part of the black race, just like
Yeah,
men
I'm sure
want.
they do. I'm sure they do.
No, they're not doing it to be mean. They're not.
Uh-huh.
You
And
think
basically,
they
people
are? Like, that
below
they're actually
are
like.
trans women, so they are women. That's not really hard to comprehend.
Okay,
they're not
so
doing it to make fun of women. They are women.
you think Dylan Mulvaney's not taking the piss?
Excuse me?
You think Dylan Mulvaney is not taking the piss?
What the fuck do you mean by that?
Like, taking the piss is like a way of saying mocking or exaggerating feminine female stereotypes, especially negative ones. You don't think Dylan
How?
Mulvaney's
She's
doing
a
that?
woman.
Okay, so have you ever watched anything from Dylan Mulvaney?
I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Honestly, all I know is that she's a woman. That's it.
No, he's not. He's a man. He's an adult human male.
She's a woman.
Okay, so what makes him a woman?
Saying that she's a woman. It's pretty.
So if you say
simple.
you're something you're not, you just become that thing?
Do
Like,
you actually think that committing blackface is the same as being transgender? How old are you?
Well,
How many years on this earth has not let you comprehend the difference?
Well, I don't think you comprehend the difference, because honestly, men. Okay, let's look at the parallels, Cherry. Let's look at the parallels. Okay, so who oppresses women? What class of people on this planet oppress women?
Everyone.
Right. So, is it men? Maybe men.
So, do you think that people are trans women just to make fun of them? Is that your logic?
No. I think that men are so privileged and so entitled and so emboldened and so out of touch that they have the fucking audacity to think that we are any kind of identity or costume for them. So some of them do it because they have a fetish called autogynephilia. The guy to your right with the egg head, that is what is called an autogynephile. He gets off on the idea of himself as a woman, okay? It's a very, very common fetish for men. 2 to 4% of the male population have this fetish, and it's a dangerous paraphilia that a lot of men have. The guy to
Damn.
your right is a hyper feminine gay man who sees women
That is a
as an
woman.
aesthetic.
Dylan is a
He sees,
woman.
no, that's a man, 100%.
Yeah,
There's
she
nothing
is.
about,
She's a woman.
okay, again, you're saying that what a woman is just that anyone who says they are, and that's not true. Women are adult human
If you
females. We don't get the
identify
choice.
as a woman, then you're a woman. That's
Yeah, but we're
just
not
it.
an
Gender
identity.
is a social construct.
Women are not identities for men to claim. And as far as you guys believing gender being a social construct, there are social
Right.
constructs that
So, do
surround
you
gender.
believe in trans rights?
They have all the same rights that anyone else does.
Do
They
you
just
believe
want to
in trans
violate.
rights? Do you believe that transgender people should have rights?
Well, they're just men and women, so they have the same rights as
Do
everybody
you
else.
believe that trans people should have rights?
Okay, what
You
kind of rights are you
validate
talking
them
about?
as what they identify as.
No, I will absolutely never ever
So
pretend
you
a man
don't
is a
believe in
woman.
trans rights, and you call yourself a feminist, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I mean, how do you call yourself a feminist if you think men can be women?
You are not a feminist if you don't believe in basic human rights. Do you know what feminism
They
is?
have basic human rights. They just don't have the right to
So
violate
why don't you
women's
want
human
them to
rights.
have them? You don't even acknowledge them as they are.
I acknowledge them as men and women just like everybody else, but just because they say they're something they're not doesn't give them special rights to violate women and girls' privacy, dignity, and safety.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
What's so shocking? So
Dude,
men,
sad. I'm
men,
sorry.
so men with fetishes and disorders of their mind get to violate women's rights because why? Because you bought into a stupid misogynistic ideology?
Please love
Is that
yourself
why?
one day. Spread love. Love your neighbor no matter what they identify as. Goodbye.
The youth is lost. The youth is lost. That's sad. I feel bad for the youth. Anyway, men have the same rights as they've always had. They just don't have the right to violate women's rights. Isn't that sad? Will no one ever think of the men? Let's see what they say. Major L, psoriasis. Martha does spread love, just not men violating. Exactly. If you love someone, you tell them the truth. Exactly. Sherry, where are you giving your safeguarding and sex discrimination exemptions away from men? Because she's young and she thinks it's hip and cool, and that you're a bad person if you don't. This is what's, you know what? Like, I'm not even mad at Cherry because she's just a kid. She's literally 2 years older than my daughter. Okay, so if you're gonna teach kids that you're a bad fucking person, unless you pretend that men are women, they believe it. Like, they were indoctrinated into it. Their peers are doing it. It's being sold as edgy and cool and progressive. They think it's a feminist thing. They think it's like, for some reason, they think it's like breaking gender norms when it's literally reinforcing and is as regressive as you can possibly get. But that's, that's the inverted part of the ideology, right? Is that like what's up is down and what's left is right, and 2 + 2 = 18, and war is peace, freedom is slavery, all of this bullshit, right? Like, they just think they're taught a crazy making, contradicting, manipulative ideology that preys on the youth's need to be progressive and edgy and idealistic and wanting to change the world and not wanting to be squares like the adults. And they prey on that, and they teach kids that this is the latest thing. This is the latest civil rights movement. This is just like gay rights. This is just like women's rights. And they parallel with them all the time. It's fucking sad. So I'm not even mad at her. I understand that she's indoctrinated into this cult. And the thing that's so sickening is that they indoctrinate all the kids into the cult. Like, usually with cults and religions, you can kind of opt into them, right? But with this one is like you're penalized in your society, in your community, in your school, in your job, if you do not subscribe to this cult, if you don't use its language, if you don't accept its absurdities and its insanity, and then you get indoctrinated out of your very humanity before it even develops. which is genius for the transhumanistic fucking bullshit that's like, the whole agenda's about. But it's so, like, we're not going to be able to come back from this. How do we keep our children human? How do we help them develop into human beings when they're indoctrinated out of their humanity before they even fucking come into fruition of their humanity? What the fuck do we do? I don't know. It is a conundrum. Feminism isn't exclusive to women. Women's rights, C or GP. Oh, is a steroid cream. If you're a woman, do you fall into the same category as these men? Yeah, we're all just the same. Why do they get special rights? Because they're special types of men. Because Dylan Mulvaney's a woman, guys. Why is he a woman? Because he says so. Oh, well then, all right. I guess we'll just incarcerate men with women then, because they say so. Oh, whoops, they're raping the women in the prison. Oh, well. This is a human right, or this is a civil rights movement. Women being raped is just collateral damage. You identify as being correct, so Cherry is now wrong. Science. They're entitled to rights, but not women's sex-based rights. What rights? I know. I always want to know what is a trans right? The right to violate women's boundaries? Is that a trans right? The right to rope our medical system into aiding and abetting in your extreme levels of self-harm and sexism and self-hatred and misogyny? Is that a human right? Sounds like a men's rights movement to me. Human rights, not special rights. The failed comedian YouTuber did day one get the fame and fortune he craved and women fell for it. I know. And now he's got like a fucking podcast. And he met the president and shit, putting him on women's sponsorships and this fucking world. I don't even know. But he's a woman, guys. He's a woman. My brain right now, deep breaths. Cherry, you're just as confused. She's just a kid. It's transracial. You can't comprehend it. A little young and triggered. Bless you. The world has gone mad. Left actually believes she's black and moved to Africa, so she really believes it. No, exactly. They're not just doing it because they're trying to be racist. And honestly, I don't think the men have like nefarious intentions to be sexist. They're just so fucking out of touch. They're so entitled, and they just don't they just don't see women as fully human. It's not some nefarious like thing inside their own minds that they're like, oh, well, some of them though. Some of them I think hate women, but also like it's like a weird incel thing. There's a lot going on with the men who mimic our sex. There's no real across the board, this is what's going on. Explain how Dylan is a woman at all. He's not even sort of a woman. He's one of the shittiest men alive. He takes all the really negative and embarrassing and stupid and harmful stereotypes of women, and he exaggerates them for his own personal gain. He is as bad as a person doing blackface. I'll compare him to blackface minstrel people because he takes all of the really negative stereotypes about women and he exaggerates and magnifies them for his own entertainer, like for his own personal gain. And this is at the detriment of women and girls, because when you portray women as sex objects and you bimbify them and you make them seem stupid and like flighty and something to not be taken seriously. Yeah, continue to not take women seriously because we just have empty heads. We're just bimbos. We're just here to look pretty. And he's, the whole pill popper thing, the whole promiscuous one night stand thing, the whole everything's just, we're all just naive, stupid, afraid of bugs, clumsy, falling all over ourselves, helpless, sexual objects. Like the way he portrays women is disgusting. And like, not to say that like certain aspects of femininity toned down can't be like that, but like women can be feminine, and that's one thing. But when men portray like the negative aspects, or the aspects that make it so that we're taken for granted, that we're not taken seriously, that we're not listened to, that we're objectified and dehumanized because of, and he takes those fucking tropes and stereotypes and glorifies and magnifies and defines himself as a woman because of them, fuck that guy. Absolutely fuck that guy. He's just a minstrel blackface show for women. Fuck that man. Yeah, women do that, but guess what? Black people also do stereotypes. It's fine for black people to do them, but if white people are making fun of them and saying that they're black because of them, just like men, like women doing a lot of these bimbification things and stuff like that, is because they're internalizing misogyny. They're internalizing what they think they need to be in order to be fuckable, right? So, sorry, Yamacito, just trying to take up ops. Yeah, women do portray the negative stereotypes about ourselves, but that's because a lot of these stereotypes have been foisted upon us by the patriarchy. Like, women have learned through the cornification or corn culture, and through like what men supposedly think is fuckable and whatever. Women have been taught through television and magazines and movies. They've been taught that their worth lies in how fuckable they are to the male gaze and how fuckable they are in general. And so they try to appear these certain ways because they think that this is a performance of femininity that will get them some kind of worth and power that they can use, right? So when women do that, it's just like kind of sad and kind of like a result of the patriarchy. But when men do that, fuck you guys. You're the fucking one who foisted this shit onto women, and you're gonna go and do this shit? Fuck off. It's total sexism when men do it, and when women do it, it's internalized misogyny. So those are two different things. There's misogyny, and there's internalized misogyny that women hold. Fuck these men. Why don't you come up and talk then? Like, what do you mean white womanhood? You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, what's white womanhood? Do you mean rich white women? Or do you mean women who are like, who've had 15 kids and are in an abusive relationship and have no power and no money? You think a white woman with 15 kids under an abusive husband who's been beat the fuck out of like 85 times, had her arms broken, had miscarried because her husband kicked her down the stairs? Do you think that's white womanhood? Is that a privilege? What the fuck are you talking about? You mean the ones raping my ancestors? I'm indigenous, I'm Cree, so what? So what? My ancestors were oppressed by men and by the colonialism, by all this shit. So what? Am I gonna now what? Say that white women suck? No. What am I gonna say? I'm gonna say that women and girls are an oppressed sex class and that we need to protect them and that we're not a fucking costume. And it's not white women that are saying that we're not a fucking costume. It's a lot of different races of women who are saying that. It's not like we're all legions of white women and I'm just like teaming up with white women. I'm teaming up with black women, Asian women. I'm teaming up with indigenous women. I'm teaming up with every woman who can see that this ideology is sexist and misogynistic and homophobic and anti-woman and anti-child and anti-reality and is harmful to everyone and everything it touches. And we're tearing it down. Tearing this fucking bullshit down. I'm not saying that anyone's powerless. I'm saying that there are people there are vulnerable classes of people, right? And women and girls are the most vulnerable class of people on the face of this planet. It doesn't matter what race, all women have a certain amount of oppression, right? In Canada, in Canada, are we as women in Canada reaching the same, dealing with the same amount of oppression as women in Afghanistan? Absolutely fucking not, right? No one would even dream of saying so. However, do you think that women and girls in Canada don't experience sex-based violence and oppression? Like, do you think anywhere in the world women are just like completely like there's no inequality, there's no sex-based violence and oppression? In the UK, one of the whitest, well, not anymore, I guess, but you know, in the UK, there's such a problem with femicide that they've declared a national emergency of femicide. You know, you look at Giselle Pellicot. She's a white woman in France, right? This is a white woman who had comfortable privilege, right? She had a husband who she thought loved her, a home, upper middle class, right? Being raped for 10 years by hundreds of men in the village, okay? Being raped nightly by her husband and multiple men, right? You think that's privilege? Why did that happen to her? Do you think women are doing that to men? Nope. But men are doing that to women. And the fact that all the men in that village, they're like judges and police officers and teachers, just normal men, right? And then the other men who knew it was happening and didn't speak up and didn't rat on anybody, rose before hose, right? So yeah, doesn't matter what class you're in, doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter if you're a woman or you're a child or you're a girl, you are the most vulnerable people in that country or class or group or race, okay? So I stand with all women and girls. I don't go, oh, you're a white woman, so I'm not going to stand with you. You have more privilege. Giselle Pellicot didn't have any more privilege than anybody else when it came to her sex-based violence that was perpetrated on her by hundreds of men, hundreds of civilized men in a civilized country where FGM is not practiced. Okay, she's just a middle-aged or older 65-year-old white woman, and she was raped every night for 10 fucking years. Okay? And that's just one of many examples. So it doesn't matter what your race is, it doesn't matter what your privilege is, it doesn't matter what country you live in. If you're a woman, you face oppression because of your sex. Okay? So fuck off. Was she raped by trans women? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those men weren't men mimicking the female sex. But we have no evidence of that, no. But why? Do you think that men who mimic the female sex are safe, wonderful men? You think men who reduce our bodies to their costume, who objectify women to the degree that we're their fucking costume, are these safe, wonderful men that we can trust? Is that what you think? Bottom right took me out. Yeah, they're just men. They have male pattern behavior. They're not exempt from male statistics. They don't suddenly flee their male bodies and become female bodies when they mimic, when they pretend they're us, when they fuck up their male endocrine system, when they invert their penis. You know that the men who go through these surgeries more often than not are autogynephiles? Because it's the paraphilias that drive men to do weird things like cut off their legs or cut off their penises or weird shit like that, castrate themselves. Come up and debate me then. I've been on the treadmill for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm only going to be here for another 15 minutes maybe. So if you think anything I'm saying is a lie, come up and rebut it then. Don't just say something's a lie. You don't even know what you're talking about. What's a lie? You think that you don't even understand paraphilias probably. Like, the men who cut off their legs and shit for a paraphilia, do you think that like they're so driven by something, right? So for men to be so driven by the urge to be something they're not is not any different than men driven by the urge to amputate legs and shit. Like it's really just the same crazy sexual paraphilias that men have. So who cares? Now I know the hyperfeminine gay men or just the gay men are not these men with paraphilias, but most gay men don't wish to mimic the female sex. The gay men that wish to mimic the female sex are a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of the population, to a degree where we never have even met them. Like in my entire life, I'm 43. In my entire life, I've never met a transsexual until this ideology exploded in 2014 about, right? Never saw them. Nobody's parents were that. No kids were struggling with their gender identities, which is like a bullshit term anyway. There's no such thing as a gender identity. This is an invented term to spread a disgusting sexist social contagion to children. But anyway, it wasn't until the ideology exploded and it unleashed all the autogynephiles onto society that you were seeing them everywhere. And then a lot of men who were gay also started to mimic the female sex more and more, because a lot of hyperfeminine gay men really like the aesthetic of women, and because they're so feminine, they're just like, they enjoy that aesthetic, and they also want like to attract straight men and masculine men and stuff like that. So when the ideology exploded, it became much more acceptable to mimic the female sex as a gay man and also as an autogynephile. So yeah, I do realize that not all are autogynephiles, but the overwhelming majority of them are, especially the ones who go get surgeries. Oh, you're 17. Okay, I'm gonna have to evict you from the live then, just because we're not allowed to have kids in here. So sorry about that. Come back when you're 18. Okay, good. Yeah, it was nothing personal. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop on the treadmill here. Okay. Everyone's like triple mondo dondo blocking her. Phenotype versus genotype. I mean, mimicking anyone's biological phenotypes is fucking unacceptable. We're not a costume. Black people aren't costumes. Women aren't costumes. Okay, sorry, yeah, bye. The fact that you're on the treadmill and talking. Like I said, even SHSTs are taking the piss just presenting. He actually made me realize that. Huh? Thanks, Chloe. Yeah, no, I know. I know that you realize that, and you're doing what you're doing, and you know, I appreciate your fight to minimize the harm, and like also I really appreciate your willingness to check these men who think it's perfectly fine and have no respect and stuff like that. So token, that's why you're the token. That's why you're the only one. Like, is there any other? Like, there isn't any other. Like, Chloe is literally the token. Like, you are our token trans person. There's no other. All the rest are fucking assholes. We got the token Chloe. So Chloe's the only one with common sense. By that logic, do you think nose jobs are wrong since it mimics phenotypes? I don't think people should get nose jobs just for fun, but that's just my opinion. Like, obviously, who cares what I think about that kind of thing? It's not really hurting anybody. I mean, it's hurting the people who are doing it because they're like breaking their nose and shit, and it's fucked up. But as far as like, is this going to oppress anybody? No. Is it going to make it so that women are getting raped in women's prisons by men? No. Is it going to make it so that women are being raped in women's grape shelters, like what happened last month in Edmonton, Alberta, in a fucking women's shelter where 3 women were raped by a fucking man pretending to be a woman? No, nose jobs aren't going to cause that. But men mimicking the female sex does cause that. So there's that. Um, that girl I was talking to, Chloe, didn't know what taking the piss meant. I guess that's kind of, is that like a UK thing? Because I've heard that before. Maybe I'm just so used to talking to people from the UK that that's where I got taking the piss from. But I thought I knew that my whole life, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I learned it from you Brits. Brits. Martha's treadmill truths. Martha's treadmill truths. None of this is okay. That's good. Okay, well, nobody's coming up. I only got one op this night. It's a UK thing. Oh, okay. That's why she was like, what in the fuck are you talking about? What is taking the piss? I'm like, what? You don't know what that is? What's wrong with you? Okay, I'll fold laundry and chatter at your ear. But when I'm done the folding, I'm going to go and make the nachos and the oranges and watch something. Watch a movie. What are people watching? What are you guys watching? Oh, actually, the laundry isn't all dry. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to put it back in. What's people watching? What should I watch? Ops are being keyword words. I'm about to start a new K-drama on Netflix called Karma. It's a thriller. Oh, I think I heard of that one. White Lotus season 3. I'm all up in that. But you know what I gotta say about White Lotus 3? Because I've seen the first 2 and they were pretty riveting. This one's like riveting, but really like, it's not, nothing really happens in each episode. Like, nothing really, like, it kind of does, and it's got me hooked in like the cinematography and the beauty and the characters, and like I'm there, but it's just like every episode I'm like, like they're just kind of, they fall a bit flat. I'm finding with this season, I'm just finding things are falling a bit flat, and I'm not like, yeah, but I'm still there. Like I'm excited every week for each one, and I'm still like on it. But every time I watch one, I'm like, so they just quite, yeah, but whatever. I'm still there. The finale has to be amazing. I know, like, come on, man. Like they better deliver on the finale. That's not the question. The question is, why are transracial is bad but not transgender? Exactly. Yeah, I agree with the episodes. Usually more gripping. Yeah, that's what, and like more like, whoa, like every episode's like, whoa, that happened or whatever. Like these ones are just, they just fall a bit flat. Yeah, but I still like all the characters. Like I'm still enjoying the season. But yeah, I'm also watching the 1923 second season. That comes out Sundays as well. So if you guys have watched the 1923, oh my god, fucking love that shit with Harrison Ford and everybody. Oh man, so good, so good. If you haven't seen the first season, I'm jealous. The first season is so good, and now they're doing the second season every Sunday. Oh fuck, so good. Please, so good. Love the Yellowstone spin-offs and Yellowstone. You just answered it. So are you saying that you're a fascist who's trying to get things taken down? Um, I heard people complaining about the opening theme song of White Lotus changing. Yeah, because like the other one was like, it was like so cool. This one's okay too. I don't know. I'm not that attached. They're both good. Maybe I should. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if I stop now. I've like lost my live access when things have been reported anyway. Um. So what are you talking about? I need more horrors to come out. Yeah, watch that Blink Twice, Maddie. Watch the Blink Twice movie. Holy shit, that one was quite the. I guess Zoe Kravitz did that one. Blackface is never okay. Neither is woman face. Oh, oh, it's never okay. Yeah, watch it tonight. Tell me what you think. Did you catch any of my lives today? Is there any things to post coming up? I gotta go through my two lives because there was some good moments. I'm so bad at like screen recording and finding the moment, and I'm just so bad at it. Yeah, Blink Twice as well. Don't give her any spoilers. She hasn't seen it. The Silo show is good. Okay, I'm really embarrassed, but I'm gonna tell you guys something. I am watching Beverly Hills 90210. Yep. I got all the seasons downloaded and I've just finished season 2. And the reason I'm watching this is because this is my childhood, and the nostalgia that I'm feeling while I'm watching this is like is like nectar to my soul. Like, and just like the hairstyles and the little, I remember as a kid like wanting the clips that they had in their hair with the bows, and I would go get those clips, and like I remember like learning so much fashion from them, and like just like I just loved that show when I was a kid. And like now that I'm watching it as a 43-year-old, I'm just like the nostalgia is just like it's like laying in a hot bath when you're cold. It's just like so comforting, and it just brings back all these memories and feelings, and it just feels so amazing. Like I really love it. It's like bringing me back to my youth or something. I don't know. Yeah, I like the nostalgic chill shows, but it's kind of embarrassing because it's like holy shit, man. I'm watching 90210 as a 43-year-old, but whatever. Nice. Why is it only when they hurt? You've been watching Charmed when the kids are in bed. I never watched that, so there's no nostalgia there for me. You've been watching Charmed. I love older shows. Yeah, I even watched like Full House. I went and watched Full House like not recently, but like a couple of years ago, and like that one, just the innocence and like how nice they are to each other, and like because like now with shows like like Modern Family and stuff like or just like shows in general, like they're so mean to each other and they're so shitty. Like the people are so shitty and they lie and they just suck, right? Like and like the sitcoms of my childhood were just packed full of morality, and like they were just so nice to each other and like so supportive and kind, and like it's just so nice to see that influence, I guess, again. Yeah. And same with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I was watching that too. Although that one's a little bit more like cutting each other. How is that embarrassing? I don't know. Just a little bit weird. You have other lives on YouTube. Yeah, I gotta get some TikTok ones out. If there was any good stuff today, I don't know. I can't remember. I was on a few lives today. Any UK people rewatched Gavin and Stacey since the finale? Never even heard of that. The Bald AGP is absolutely terrifying. They all are. It's called Modern Family for a reason. Yeah, totally. But they're so mean to each other. And don't you think like every character in that show is such an asshole? Like they're so selfish and like narcissistic and lying and like cheating, and like they're just the worst people. Like they don't have there's no wholesomeness to them, and like they're cowards, and like they're just kind of like the worst people. And then the shows are just them like taking the piss and just being mean to each other, and it's just like, oh, but then like they all kind of come through for each other sort of, but I don't know, just and the annoyance and just the lack of support and the lack of caring. And the only reason people like that show is because of Cam and what's the other guy's name, the gay guys. Like people love them, but they also suck. Like they're also like shitty. All the characters in that show are just like crappy people in my opinion. but it's still funny. But also just, yeah, when I see like the old school shows, it's like, oh, we were so innocent. You've been screamed at, threatened. I see the debate yesterday when they were gaslighting you. Oh yeah, like fuck. That's what inspired this. Because I want them to come and say to my face, come and tell me that you don't think that the girls up there are offensive, that the women up there are offensive, that that's not offensive. Go ahead. I'd like to hear Icy come and debate me. But he'll only debate me on a bully panel where I'm muted and dropped and overspoken and dogpiled. He'll never actually like debate me one on one. And if he came up in my live, guess what? I would not even mute him or anything. Buffy is my favorite of all time. Oh, I gotta rewatch Buffy. I actually, like, when I was a kid, I would like play Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I would pretend I was Buffy. Like, that was, so that's the kind of nostalgia that would be like my actual imagination play. That's what rewatching The Facts of Life is for me. Aw, The Facts of Life. I used to, you know what? I am such a TV person growing up that like, so I'm 43 and I don't really have like, um, I don't, my generation is not like Gilligan's Island or Get Smart or the Brady Bunch or that kind of thing, but I still watched all that shit. So like I didn't really like I Love Lucy or anything, but yeah, I watched Get Smart, loved that show. I watched a bit of Gilligan's Island. I watched the Brady Bunch. I loved the Golden Girls. Golden Girls was like I actually rewatched Golden Girls. That's how much I love Golden Girls. What else would I watch? Do you remember Married with Children? Speaking of Modern Family, remember Married with Children? Remember? What else would I watch? That's kind of old stuff. Oh, I can't remember now. Whatever. How have you been personally hurt by a trans woman? All women and girls have been hurt by trans women because they have erased us as a protected sex class in language and law. And now we no longer have the right to exclude males from fucking anything, including spaces where we're getting undressed, including spaces where we're dealing with our female bodies, including fucking anything we want to exclude males from. We're not allowed to because of these fucking narcissists. So that's fun. You wanted to come up earlier to have your back on the transracial analogy. Thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of people of color who agree and understand the analogy and are not offended because they see how serious misogyny is and they're not like, oh my God, how dare you compare misogyny to racism? It's like, okay. But a lot of the people don't even see men mimicking our sex as misogyny. They see it as the right of men to identify as women because women are just a costume if men want us to be. How about fuck you all? Okay, well, I'm gonna go. Unless anyone wants to send me the fattest gifts in the world right now, just to reward all of my amazing efforts to entertain and give you my life force and talk about nostalgia. You have exactly 1 minute to do so. So trans men are fine, but not trans women. No, women mimicking the male sex are very problematic as well. They spread the social contagion. They work on erasing women. They are some of the most insufferable trans activists. They confuse children about gender and sex. They violate men and boys' privacy and dignity and boundaries and consent. They are destroying themselves and destroying women's rights, but they're not like, so women don't oppress men, right? So when women mimic the male sex, it doesn't like harm institutionally and systemically like an oppressed class of people, right? Whereas men do hold institutional and systemic power over women and girls. And so when they mimic us, they cause like the boundary violations that harassed and intimidated and indecent and all things. I don't know how much you just heard. So, yeah, when I'll just repeat it. So, when men mimic the female sex, they oppress us additionally, right? So, they cause us to lose our sex based rights and protections. They cause us to be erased as a protected sex class in language and law. Women mimicking the male sex do not cause men to lose much of anything. Like identifying into men's sports doesn't threaten their sports. Identifying into men's prisons doesn't even happen. It's a men's rights movement. Women are not fetishizing and colonizing the male sex. It's just the other way around does not have the same systemic and institutional additional oppression onto an already oppressed class of people, because men are not oppressed and they're not oppressed by women, that's for sure. So fuck these men who think we're their costume or their fetish or their treatment plan. And the women who are doing it are definitely causing problems, but like the bigger fish to fry is definitely the men doing this behavior, because it hurts women and girls the most. And yeah, so fuck all these men who do that. Yeah, cosmetic surgery is one thing, but mimicking a sex that you are not is another. It's a whole other thing. It's treatment for their mind. They want to have surgery. That's for sure. Yeah, women are not men's treatments. Women are not anyone's human shield or treatment plan. I don't care if men don't like being male. They are. So they don't get to just pretend they're not male and then violate women's boundaries. Nope. Sorry, guys. Putting our foot down there. No, you're literally cutting out healthy body parts to make fake ones. Yep. They say they are trans on the chain, and now they like to pass. They follow with trans men. Yeah, so yeah, trans women who mimic the male sex are definitely problematic. And, you know, I'm always giving them shit for violating men and boys' boundaries. I don't think that's okay. A lot of the female erasure in language that's occurring is because of because of women mimicking the male sex. Because we're trying to pretend that like men can have periods, and we're trying to pretend that men can give birth, and we're trying to pretend that like because women are mimicking the male sex that like these are men doing all of these female things, and it's just like it's causing like an extreme amount of female erasure in language, and also in healthcare, and also in like laws, and also in like history, because you know if a woman mimicking the male sex does some accomplishment, that's going to be recorded in history as a man's accomplishment when it was a woman's accomplishment. So lots of female erasure happening on behalf of the women mimicking the male sex. Also, they are literally attacking and destroying the female sex of themselves, which is absolutely heartbreaking. It's horrible, and they spread the social contagion. They are the worst trans activists, so insufferable, so terrible, so annoying. um vile, yeah, not good. Okay, I'm gonna go make my oranges. I'm gonna go make my nachos. um Oh, wait. Now I have to answer this question. Do I believe in conversion therapy? No. See, this is a disgusting thing that your stupid fucking cult has done. You guys have equated people helping people find out why their gender dysphoria exists rather than just pretend helping them disassociate from their bodies in reality. You guys pretend. Okay, so conversion therapy is when you try to make a gay person no longer gay by torturing them. Okay? That's what conversion therapy is. Now, you've equated something that horrific with therapists helping people not disassociate from their bodies and not disassociate from reality. So you're pretending that torturing gay people to try to make them not gay is the same thing as helping people not destroy and attack their bodies and sex in order to try to pretend there's something they're not. helping people find out why they don't like reality, why they're dysphoric about their sex, why they're dysphoric about the things that surround their sex. A lot of these kids just don't even know that they don't have to be a masculine man, or they don't have to be a feminine girl. Sometimes it just takes therapy to go, guess what? You can be exactly how you are. You're not born in the wrong body. There's no wrong way to be a girl. There's no wrong way to be a woman, except to be male. If you're male, you're not a woman. Everything else, fair game. A lot of people don't know that. They grow up thinking that there's a right way to be a woman, and thanks to your stupid fucking ideology, you guys are reinforcing that yeah, there is a way to be a woman. And if you're this way and you're a man, then you can be a woman. You sexist assholes. Like, any way that adult human females are, that's how women are. Okay? So it's not fucking conversion therapy to help people come to terms with reality and correct like inappropriate beliefs about their sex and gender. Like, that's not conversion therapy, you goddamn lunatics. And how disrespectful to the gay people who were tortured in conversion therapy to minimize it in that manner. Like, what do they say? What do the kids say? Take several seats, okay? Several. All right, I'm gonna go because my battery is unaliving. My headphones are unaliving. Have I got budgers? Budgerigars. Have I got pet budgerigars? What the fuck is that? Budgerigars. Budgies, maybe? Neither are okay, W. Oh, it's so hard not to read your comments. I should just go. I should just go and eat oranges and nachos. Nostalgia TV debate. So there's no getting anywhere. Well, you can definitely there's hundreds of modalities to choose from. Like, a lot of people who have gender dysphoria have it because they're traumatized about their sex. So dealing with the trauma, there are many modalities and many different therapists. You know, it sometimes takes years to find the proper therapist to work with you as an individual for your particular problem. You know, like, sometimes you're seeing the wrong person, sometimes you've chosen the wrong modality. Trauma is difficult, but there are people who can help you resolve trauma. You know, nobody's born dysphoric about their sex. Nobody's born in the wrong body. There's nothing wrong with children. There's nothing wrong with being a feminine man or a masculine woman. There's nothing wrong with anybody who has gender dysphoria. They just need to resolve it. They need to figure out where it comes from, which most people can. Like, it's actually not that hard. I could sit down with people and figure out where their dysphoria stems from. I've done it with multiple people. It's not that hard. You just start asking questions like, when did you start to feel uncomfortable about this or that? Or, you know, you figure out whether they're uncomfortable about their actual body, or you figure out whether they're uncomfortable about with what they believe is expected of their sex, right? Because some people believe that they're supposed to be a certain way if they're female, and they're not that way, so they must be wrong. And then you just help them correct that belief. Like, no, there's actually nothing wrong with you. And there's no wrong way to be a woman. Any way that you are, that's how women are. Because you're a woman. Because you're an adult human female. Stop being sexist. Okay, I am going to get up. I just keep reading things and then people say things. You still want to debate? I can get you. Oh, man. No, now I'm tired and it's 1 a.m. and I want to go eat nachos. Okay.